I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
my head up.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just...
You
got it.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Morris?
Oh, my heart,
Happy 20th anniversary.
my heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? John.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself.
The doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all and more.
Letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
All right. Praise the Lord. It's December 31st, 9:21 p.m. And we just had to do a wrap-up video, a segment on 2023. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to make it through another year. As the new year comes in, we pray that we can release all of the negative stuff and embrace all of the good that is to come. We built this network, BlackUSA.News, going back to December 2020. And since then, we've had the opportunity to welcome a lot of hosts from around the country. Deborah Hardnett down in Atlanta, Joey Noble down in Miami, Art Doug Blackshirt out in Oakland, California, Tashmere Gathers, who was in New York City, but now she's here in Maryland. Chap Davis, Quita has come aboard. Forget Quita's last name. But so many different hosts from around the country who all bring their story. Yolanda Pulley, Jason Rodriguez, Quita Chansey. I'm sorry, Quita. She runs Baltimore Homes. And that's been the thing. We've had the chance to bring just the little people who really make our country great, our community great. You know, a lot of times we think, you know, it's the Kwesi Mfumes, it's the legendary people, but it's the everyday people, the people who live right next door, people who are doing their thing. You know, like Quita, she builds these little tiny homes. I don't always agree with her concept, but everybody needs a home. And when you think about it, and I think that's been a big lesson for me this year. Think before you talk. Listen, you might find out somebody might teach you something you don't know. You might learn something. You might see something from a different perspective that you hadn't really considered. 2023 has been tumultuous in many regards, but we're still here. We're still standing, and we look forward to 2024 and doing it even better. So I just wanted to take a moment and, you know, address and acknowledge those people like Dr. Tyrone Taborn, who have helped to make this network possible. Also, Mr. Michael Haney. Tyrone Taborn, for those who do not know, runs Career Communications Group. And he's been doing that for nearly 40 years, I think about 38 years. He publishes 2 magazines, Black Engineer Magazine and Hispanic Engineer Magazine. And in addition to those magazines, and as a part of marketing those magazines, he produces the BEA, which is a whole separate entity. Got these 2 magazines, Black Engineer, Hispanic Engineer magazines. He wants to close the digital divide. He's all about fighting digital apartheid. And that's essentially where Black and brown people are more on the periphery of technology and digital innovation compared to mainstream America. And that's why he got his honorary doctorate degree from Dr. Eugene Deloach at Morgan State University School of Engineering, because he's a pioneer and he's been working to close this digital gap for 4 decades when nobody really cared. If you look around Baltimore now, you have a lot of people who are in the forefront of digital technology. They're the spokesperson for Black America, for Black Baltimore. They want to get Black people involved. But Dr. Tabon has been doing this for 4 decades. All of that to say, come February, the BEA, which is the Black Engineer of the Year Awards, or be all you can aspire to be, the Black Engineer Awards is coming back after about 12 years. They've been in DC, because Baltimore, and this is a whole separate conversation, Baltimore is not all that supportive or embracing of efforts and initiatives by Black people. This is a majority Black city that has the proclivity to not support Black people. It's amazing. It's like when you look at the Baltimore City public school system. Grade changing. Fox 45 has been doing specials on grade changing and the underperformance of our students, of our schools, of our teachers. And I'm not a big fan of Fox. But you got to ask the question, if Baltimore City students have one of the highest per pupil expenditures in the entire country, then why are students, why can't they count? Why can't they read? I'm not saying all of the students, but too many students. Something is fundamentally wrong here in the city of Baltimore. Something's wrong. No recreation centers in neighborhoods where violence is high, where poverty is ubiquitous, where vacant houses are seemingly everywhere. Where's the investment in the inner city? Somebody is pussyfooting at City Hall. Somebody is BSing here in Sandtown. We've had several meetings this year. Kudos to the young people who have gotten involved like never before. But shame also on the older people who are pussyfooting. There was a time when Sandtown had it going on back in the 90s. But the past 23 years, Lillian Jones Recreation Center's closed. I still can't get over the 13-year-old girl who got killed in front of the recreation center, in front of a group of people, and no killer has been brought to justice. We have a lot of that in the city of Baltimore. But anyway, not to make you sad, one thing I've noticed this year, from a broader perspective, from a macro perspective, is that Facebook and Instagram, also Twitter, they are now bowing down to TikTok. TikTok is really come on the scene. And so somehow we got to get TikTok to be a part of this network here. Got a mayor's race coming up May 14th. It's going to be interesting. Right now, I think if the election were today, it looks like Brandon Scott would retain his seat. That's just what I see. I mean, you got a lot of different people in the race, but do they have a clear-cut path to victory? He's getting married, got a baby coming, but he hasn't got his hands caught in any cookie jar. Now, a lot of people don't like the Baltimore Gas and Electric move. Maybe it was imminent, but nonetheless, I think if the election were today, if you would have asked me, if I had to bet, I think he would take it. Now, a lot of people like Sheila Dixon. A lot of people have talked about, you know, what was going on with the young man in the video. I don't know. But I don't know. Last time she was in office was, what, 2007? A lot of her bases died or moved to the county. I don't know. There's another race, Angela Also Brooks and David Trone. Angela Also Brooks is starting to pick up some rhythm, pick up some momentum. David Trone's got a lot of money. She's black, he's white. It would be the first time we have a black U.S. senator. I remember when Kwesi Mfume was running for the U.S. Senate seat. The powers that be did not support Kwesi Mfume. That would be Martin O'Malley, Mike Miller. He's dead now. They didn't give Kwesi that kind of support. But this is a new day, a new era. Martin O'Malley's now running Social Security. Did you know that? Kwesi's back in Congress. So who knows? This might be the year that Angela Also Brooks, who is the county executive for Prince George's County, this might be her year. She's gotten a lot of endorsements where David Trone seemingly is just, you know, he will buy an election. That's the word. He will buy an election. He will buy your whole team. So I commend Also Brooks for, you know, let me say this. For anybody who steps out there into the political realm, I know Marsha Jew, she's talking about running for city council. For anybody who steps out there into the political realm, I give you mad respect, because it is the boldest thing you could do besides serving in the military or being a police officer. You put your whole life on the line. Mentally, physically, spiritually, economically, politically, your whole life. You think running a business is tough? And I'm tough on politicians. I just want them to do what they say they're going to do. But truth be told, it is the most daring, courageous thing that an American can do, is to step out there into the political realm. Your whole life is on the line. Everything you do is under scrutiny. Yolanda Pulley, she's jumping out. She's going back out there into the mayor's race. I commend her. It's not easy. It takes money. You got to constantly raise money. That's one thing about Sheila, though. Let me tell you, that lady will stay on the phone. She's very disciplined when it comes to raising money. Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. She's on the phones, dollar for dollars, dollar for dollars. And that's probably why I'd rather run a business. If I'm going to do that much hustling, then let that money be for me. You know, because once you know, as you run for office, that's not your money. That's your campaign money. That money has to be used for the campaign, only for the campaign. They told me back in 1998, that was the one election I ran for State Central Committee. They said, don't touch the money. A lot of people didn't touch that money. 15 grand, 35 grand. Then they get kicked out of office. For 15 grand, it's not a lot of money. If you catch me wrong, let it be for some millions. And I don't want it at all. because you will go to jail. We had plenty. We had some politicians here in Baltimore who went to jail. I don't need to say the names. You know the names. And that's the thing about politics. It puts you in that tempting situation. So if you can't handle the temptation, this is just like a school teacher. If you can't handle being around young girls, then don't be a school teacher. If you can't handle the temptation of politics, don't get into it. Because you will be held accountable. And too often, our beautiful, beloved Black politicians end up on the short end of the stick. They go in with good intentions. And that's the thing. You know, they may have a lot of talent, but they just get tempted. They touch that money. Called sticky fingers. Your integrity's gone. Your integrity's gone. Your integrity's gone. One politician got hemmed up in the 80s and turned around and get hemmed up in the 2000s. Over chump change. Anyway, those two elections we talked about, the mayor's race, I think right now it looks like Brandon has the clear-cut advantage. A lot of people love Sheila. Now if the Rouge jump back into the race, I'm trying to keep it clean. Fox News has a lot of influence in some regard on this election. But the real power is with the voter, you. That's the real power. The real power is with the community association. That's why here in Sandtown, we've been trying to, grow our community association ever since Freddie Gray 2015, which is 2023. 8 years later, we've still been trying to organize. So many people claim to represent Sandtown, something that I'm adamantly disgusted by. They claim to represent our community, but they don't represent our community. They represent themselves, much like the politicians. So next to the politicians, you got to watch this whole nonprofit industrial complex here in Baltimore. Everybody's got a nonprofit. Everybody's doing this and doing that, claiming to do this, claiming to do that. There's a little lady around the corner here in Sandtown, Cherie Rogers. I commend her. I see her out there doing the work, feeding people, doing the work. A lot of people say they do this, they do that, they help people, but they don't. So kudos to the unknown, the unsung heroes, the rarely celebrated people who do the work. That makes me think of also how they moved the B. Gaddy dinner over to Cherry Hill. Now I heard a unique perspective today, one that I had not considered. And that's what I'm saying. 2023 has been a big lesson for me. I'm old school, traditional. The B. Gaddy dinner, in my mind, is East Baltimore. Period. End of story. But it was brought to my attention today that B. Gaddy was Baltimore. She wasn't just East Baltimore. She was all of Baltimore. I can't say that I really like the idea of moving the B. Gaddy dinner from East Baltimore down there to Cherry Hill. But wasn't B. Gaddy all of Baltimore? I hadn't considered that perspective. They got hungry people over there too. Tell you something else I had not considered. You would have never told me that December 2023, I would understand that the demographics of Sandtown would change. When the white people first started coming to Sandtown right after Freddie Gray started seeing all of these homeless white people, I was angered. Why was I angered? Because the neighborhood was changing. And I remember a time when we black people would go to places like Hamden, like South Baltimore, and we would get chased out of there. We'd get rocks thrown at us, bottles thrown at us. But things change. You would have never told me that I would be helping white addicts here in Sandtown. You would have never told me that. You would have never told me that I would come to care about some of our white addict neighbors. But I do. There was a white lady in the alley. I've told that story a couple of times on this network. And she was belligerent. But they are people too. Unfortunately, America has made race an issue among the people who can least afford the issue. Which brings me to this president, Donald John Trump. He's an insurrectionist. He called for an insurrection. 5 people got killed, yet this person is leading the Republican race for president. What does that say about American people? On the other hand, when it comes to the border, it seems as though he had a better grip of what's going on than Biden. At the same time, you got all of these things happening at the same time. I will never forget when the Haitians came across that border and they were greeted by men on horseback, reminiscent of the era of slavery and the Klan and dog cats and dogs. And I mean, they treated those Haitians just like dirt, like trash, like garbage. Anyway, Donald John Trump caused an insurrection and 5 people got killed, and he should be held accountable. And I don't care how much privilege you got, it's wrong. How can someone who incited an insurrection when 5 people got killed be leading in the polls? That's America. That says a lot about America. They were up in Congress. Joe Biden, he has some issues as well. Him, Hunter. I heard New York Mayor Eric Adams recently called, said people can't just show up in New York. I'm talking about immigrants. Many people are coming across that border. People are leaving South America. Tell you something else I don't understand. The cartels. They make a lot of money. But people are fleeing these very same countries where the cartels dominate. Now they're coming up into California, South Americans, various South American countries, including Mexico. This whole country is changing drastically. Border towns in Texas, they're overwhelmed. Maybe, was Trump right about that? Seems as though, even though the wall was outlandish, something's got to be done. So many people are coming in. Will there be enough food? So let me get to probably the last story I want to cover. Well, a couple other things, and I'll get to this one last. We're sending tens of billions of dollars to Ukraine, a lot of money that could be used to build the infrastructure here. This country has its hands in affairs in other parts of the world. We want to be the leader on everything. There's a cost to be the boss. When I look around the corner and I see there's no recreation center, Lillian Jones Rec, it's hard for me to empathize with what's going on in Ukraine, because that's a whole nother ball of wax. You're talking about Putin, Netanyahu, Iran, these various networks, Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, Russia, China, BRICS. You know what BRICS is? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. All of these coalitions. This world has gone crazy. This world has gone mad. And we have to speak up for our communities. One thing I want to acknowledge is Shirley Nathan Pulliam. She's had a rough year, our former state senator. She lost her son this year, lost so many people this year. Mr. Ed Hooks went home. If they never call me about another funeral in life, it's all right with me. God. But Shirley Nathan Pulliam, they recognized her earlier this year in January, February, at the University of Maryland, School of Nursing tribute. Everybody showed up for, including Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski, Shirley Nathan Pulliam, former state senator. She has been a servant, a true servant, born in Jamaica. Wagwan to me, my Jamaican friends. And she has been a friend, especially to nursing students, but also to people behind the walls. Not all politicians answer letters from people behind the walls. Dolores Kelly used to make note of that. Once you answer one letter from a person from behind the walls, you get in the habit of doing that. And I say that because nobody's more incarcerated in America than Black people. Black men make up approximately 38% of the prisons in America, when we as a collective comprise 13% of the broad population. With 13% of the population, but nearly, 40% of the people in prison. And Black women are the fastest growing demographic. Why Black people are always the one getting locked up? And too often for crimes we did not do. That criminal justice system is a beast. Too many times our young people are playing with, as they say on the streets, they're throwing rocks at the penitentiary. We got to do better in 2024. Now look on television, I see three young Black men jump on a white lady and just start beating her and taking her items, phone, car keys. Man. Our children are off the hook. And unfortunately, we can only protect them but so far. They're going to have to learn a lesson. Unfortunately, that means they're either going to get killed or they're going to prison. I'm old school. Respect the police. They tell you move, move. Police tell you move, move. They shouldn't have to tell you. You should see it coming. Our kids are smart. They play video games. They understand this. They understand that. But this, there are rules. Wherever you go, there are rules. And if you don't obey the rules, you will be one of those people either behind the walls in one of them prisons, or you're going to get killed. I don't know what our politicians are thinking. I guess they want to, they want to balance things out. But there are rules and there are repercussions. And if you keep going out here doing wrong, you're going to pay the price. And you're going to break your mama heart. You're going to break your daddy heart. That's just what it is. Big ups to Bud Crawford. A lot of people didn't think he was going to beat Earl Spence. He dominated Earl Spence. Big ups to Tank Davis. He beat Ryan Garcia. I just learned today that Tank Davis has changed his name to Abdul Wahid, the slave of the one. You got to love Tank Davis. He's buying some houses. He and Santown bought his old house that was all in the news a couple of weeks ago. Javante Tank Davis, now known as Abdul Wahid. I'm really proud. I remember watching Floyd Mayweather some years back. He was still younger. He was saying some outrageous things. But I want to commend Floyd Mayweather. I salute him because he mentored Tank. From what I see, from my perspective, I'm not on the inside. I do know a couple of the people on the inside. Just from my perspective, he is a very accomplished person, a very accomplished boxer, stacks of money. But he took the time, from what I've seen, and invested in Javante Tank Davis, now known as Abdul Wahid. And look at Abdul Wahid. Look how he's evolved. It is a beautiful thing. Kudos. And it's a reminder that we all can help somebody. We all can mentor somebody. We all can take the time to invest in somebody. Might be the kid next door. Might be a kid in our own family. Even when we don't want to. I think that's a beautiful thing. I mean, seriously. Floyd used to be wild. Used to say some things. But I watched him. See, love is a verb. And that's what a lot of people don't get. They say, I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay, whatever. Love is not saying I love you. Love is showing. Love is investing your time. Love is setting an example. Love is sacrifice. And that's what I see in Floyd Mayweather and Abdul Wahid, formerly known as Javante Tank Davis. Look at him. Look how he's evolved. How he's evolving. We all should be evolving, self-included. Help me, somebody. Henrietta Lacks, she made it in the news. Thank God. Ben Crump stepped up to the plate. Ron Lacks been over there fighting for a long time to get his grandma some attention. And lo and behold, finally, he had to go out of town to get a lawyer. He went all the way to Texas. He was in Texas going to a church service, and a person said to him, you should get Ben Crump. And the rest is history. Finally, Henrietta Lacks, whose HeLa cells, H-E-L-A, capital H-E, capital L-A, her HeLa cells, the immortal cells, these are self-rejuvenating cells taken from her body without her consent by them people over there in East Baltimore. The famous East Baltimore Medical Research Institution. They took her cells and have made billions. Billions. And they gave that family crumbs. Utterly despicable. Utterly despicable. But finally, in 2023, Henrietta Lacks is finally getting the attention and the money, thanks to Ben Crump, attorney at law, And we are so proud of that. Finally. And so let me end with this last story. And I'm sure there are other stories I could have covered. I got a whole phone full of pictures from 2023. Billy Murphy, he's been out there making some waves this year in 2023, making sure the little guy, right now he's suing on behalf of a family that was wronged by the city of Baltimore. CIAA, we're looking forward, is happening in February. We're looking forward to that. CIAA is that's the basketball league. Now, it doesn't include any local teams, does include Bowie State. But CIAA, we're looking forward to that coming back to the Baltimore arena. I guess there are a whole bunch of stories we could cover. So we'd love to hear from you. If you have any story ideas, if you want to be on this network, do email me or just give me a call, 443-858-2684. Made it over to the White House earlier this year. On a personal tip, I have a new granddaughter, for those who may not know, Avani. We've been doing the Black Wall Street Awards. Let me tell you about that. We've given away over 2,500 Black Wall Street Awards, Joe Mann's Black Wall Street Awards. 2,500. We made it to Atlanta this year. Many thank you to the sponsors who make it happen, like Sean Stinnett, Sanjay Thomas. Sanjay Thomas, Allstate Insurance, he and his wife just had a baby, their first baby. It's been a busy 2023. We're looking forward to 2024. But the Black Wall Street Awards will continue. We actually have one coming up in 3 days over at Terra Cafe. Kudos to Mr. Terrence Dixon. He's been busting his butt. He thinks the city of Baltimore is not doing him right. He can't get his outdoor liquor license. It's always a struggle. So the last story I want to talk about is the Gaza Strip. On October the 7th, Hamas, which is a part of the Palestinian family, on mainstream media, they are referred to differently. But I've been to a Palestinian refugee camp, and they are people too. And these are the extreme members of that community. But if you know anything about the Gaza Strip, you know that before 1945, 1948, Christians, Muslims, Jews all lived together. However, around 1945, 46, 47, 1948, this Zionist movement began, where European Jews from other parts of the world, Europe, came to the Gaza Strip, where there are already people living. On October the 7th, it went down. It was Israel's 9/11. It kind of reminds me of Fannie Lou Hamer, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. On one side, you got the Palestinians. On the other side, you got the Israeli community. And they're living pretty well over there. You've seen the television. Hamas on October the 7th crossed the line. And these are the people in the community who are the warriors, the gladiators, and who they were sick and tired of being sick and tired. And they crossed the line over to the Israeli community, just on the other side, because they feel like their lives are being impacted by those over there. Y'all living all well, and we barely eating. And so they kidnapped a bunch of people. In retaliation, Israel started bombing everything that moved on this side of Palestine, on the Gaza Strip. And might be a little excessive with it. Matter of fact, they're being very excessive with it, because that's what the protests are about all over the world, including New York City. Netanyahu, who's in charge of Israel, he will not let up. He will not let go. He will not stop. He has no intention on stopping. And Hamas, neither do they. The interesting thing about Hamas is, and these are the extreme warriors of the Palestinian community, and some say they're financed by countries like Iran. They can actually talk a person into becoming a suicide bomber. Now that, for me, at that juncture, that's beyond terrorism. That's crazy. So it's different words that get thrown around. It's been said that the Palestinians are the black people of the Middle East. And black people know how that feels. But black people ain't going doing no suicide bombing nowhere. That's not our MO. But other people are just sick and tired, so they'll get a member of the family and they'll send them to die. Too much dying. There should be enough for everybody. Everybody should be able to have the basics. But right now, the Palestinians are starving. They're being starved to death. They're being bombed. Innocent people are being bombed. Hospitals are being bombed. Schools are being bombed. I don't understand how many bombs can you drop on a given community before there's no community left? It's just excessive. It's sad. And that's the note we're going to end on. My name's Donnie Glover. This has been 2023. I thank you for checking out our network and supporting us. May 2024 be better, brighter, more optimistic. Up to date, down tomorrow. Do your day and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it regardless of how I feel. I am somebody. I am my brother's keeper. Have a great day. And Happy New Year.